to the Board of Adjustment and Appeals for Pinellas County. Today is June 4th, 2025. We've received your cases in advance. We've studied them. In some instances, we have visited the site. Please understand that we do not bring these cases. We are just citizens tasked with weighing the evidence submitted in order to make the most informed decision possible. We have no personal interest or stake in the cases except for the overall good of the community. The staff has made a recommendation on each case. That recommendation is input to us, and it's input only, and may not necessarily reflect the opinion of this board. If you're planning to speak for or against any application, you must be sworn in prior to speaking. If you've not been sworn in, please do so now at the clerk's desk at the front of the room. This is how we will proceed. When your case is called, the applicant should come to the podium right in front here and give us your name and your address, and then present your case, including any comments from supporters in attendance. Comments from supporters should be new information, not just an expression of support. The applicant may display the volume of support by a show of hands. Speakers will have 3 minutes. Opponents will then be given an opportunity to state their objection. If there are numerous opponents, it is preferable for them to select 1 or 2 spokesperson. Speakers will have 3 minutes. If you have representation representing the large group of opponents, we will allow appropriate time for that person. Any subsequent objectors should add new information, not just rehash prior stated objections. Opponents may also display the volume of objectors by a show of hands. This will be the only opportunity for opponents to state their case. The applicant will then be able to return solely for the purpose of rebutting any of the comments that were made by the opponents. May not bring new information at that time. Finally, we will close the public hearing. The board will discuss the case, make a motion, and vote. Also, if you have a cell phone with you, please turn the volume all the way up so we know whose phone it is when it goes off, and we can get you out of the room. Our attorney will now provide additional information on the procedures.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The matters heard by the Board of Adjustment and Appeals are quasi-judicial in nature. Please note that only competent, substantial, fact-based testimony or evidence may be considered by the board in deciding the matters before it. Pure speculation or opinion, not based on competent facts, cannot be legally considered by the board. Lay testimony with fact-based support, including but not limited to meeting minutes, surveys, engineering reports, etc., may be considered competent and substantial evidence. And I have a couple of other things that I want to hit so they don't look like they are applied to a particular case when that discussion comes up. You did, I think, I sent an email up to the board saying, please disclose if you've made a site visit to any of the sites that are of issue today. Please disclose that when the hearing is opened. And that way, that allows the applicant or the opposition to question, as to what you did or whatever. That's just part of due process. Motion content. If you're going to vote in a manner inconsistent with staff's recommendation, which you certainly can. Staff's recommendation is competent substantial evidence. There's plenty of case law on that. However, if you're going the other way, you need to say what factor it did or did not meet in the type 2 use or the variance criteria that are listed in the staff report. And finally, a motion, unless we find there was a procedural due process or just general mistake made by staff or somebody on the case getting to the board, making motions without prejudice is not something that's in our quasi-judicial ordinance or our Board of Adjustment ordinance. So, a denial is with prejudice for the 6-month delay before they can refile, unless we find that there was some sort of screw-up on the way up to the board. So I just wanted to make those notes for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, Mr. Soderback, you want to call the first case?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Our first case is TY 2-25-04. This is a type 2 use to allow for the construction of 25 single-family detached homes on individual lots in a residential multifamily zoning district. For the properties listed here in the case description. I'm not going to read through all of the numbers. Staff recommends conditional approval. The location is along 57th Avenue North and 58th Avenue North, around the area of 40th Street North in Lelman. So the proposed request would allow for the 25 properties to be subdivided back to the original platted lots and developed with redeveloped with 25 detached single-family affordable housing dwellings. The surrounding uses include, this is mostly a single-family detached home neighborhood. There's a public elementary school, administrative offices for a nonprofit, and this, again, is in the Lilman Community Redevelopment Area. There was a rezoning years ago on these properties were acquired as part of what's called the Lilman Heights project. This was to be multifamily affordable housing development. That didn't materialize. This is very similar to one that's further down the street. We did the same thing, and Habitat is looking to acquire these and then redevelop with single-family detached homes, which would be back to the original way the neighborhood was platted.
Would the applicant please come forward? If you stand in the middle of the table, the two microphones will pick up your voice perfectly.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today?
Hey,
All right, good, good.
Your
Sir,
name and address,
sir.
please.
I'm Cesar Figueredo with Habitat for Humanity, Tampa Bay Gulf Side, 13355 49th Street North in Clearwater, Florida. So the type 2 use would allow for 25 single-family homes to be built in the Lilman Heights community. With the Habitat program, we aim to serve the community as far as providing a zero-interest mortgage on the home. In order to become part of the program, there has to be a need, a willingness to partner, and there also has to be the ability to pay a mortgage. Yes, there's a misconception that we give away free homes, but with Habitat for Humanity, each homeowner does have a mortgage, and what pertains to continue to provide that zero-interest mortgage is what keeps the affordability of the home. For this project specifically, we've built around 97 homes. We've served 97 families in the Lilman area. In this community alone, we've built 12 homes in this same community. With this project, it would allow us to build 25 more homes per the pre-existing plat. We've done a couple things as far as in 2023. We've helped 36 families as far as the per the pre-existing plat. Habitat for Humanity, Lilman is one of our, I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
That's all right.
Habitat for Humanity is one of our, Lilman is one of our focus areas for Habitat for Humanity, and we aim to serve families in this community. With those 12 properties that we did, we helped improve the neighborhood. We also helped with sidewalks. We also helped put 12 families in these homes that were really able to change that community as a whole. When you walk through the community, you can distinguish Habitat's properties in there. And then we just would love to help these families continue on with that process and really help with helping that community.
Before you go any further, let me just ask, are there any opponents here on this case today?
Only in support.
You're here in support, not as an opponent, okay. I don't see any opponents.
I have a question for Mr. McAteer. So I have a long history of involvement with Habitat from a donor's perspective and a client perspective. Do I need to recuse myself from voting? Disclose?
If it pertains to your special private gain or loss, meaning if you would make or lose basically more
It won't
money than the average person on the street,
impact that.
okay, then you don't need to
All right,
recuse yourself.
thank you. Okay. All right. We have no objectors. Does anyone care to make a motion on this case?
Motion to approve?
In accordance with the findings of fact as outlined in the staff recommendation? Took the words right out of your mouth. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for approval of the type 2 use. Is there any further discussion? Sure, okay. Come on up.
Jeremy Heath, 511 Dora, and you guys thought you had a light docket today, so I'm sorry, I'll be very brief. I'm a Loman CRA advisory member, although I am here speaking as a private citizen, so did just want to make that distinction. It was very important for me to go on public record to say that this is a project and a vision that's been nearly 10 years in the making. From the establishment of the Loman CRA, one of the core principles that we're focusing on is building a community in the Loman area and building affordable housing that is suitable and compliant with the neighborhood. And so again, just very briefly, we as the CRA did discuss this project, are in full support of it, and obviously myself am very excited to see what Habitat does in the future building these homes. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for your
you.
comments. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Did you get the motion maker in the second?
I got.
Motion
Mr.
maker.
Hudson and Mr. Bell.
Second. Okay. Next case.
Our next case is TY 2-25-02. This is a type 2 use request to allow for an event venue, which falls under the meeting hall and other community assembly facility use in an RE residential estate zoning district for the property located at 9551 90th Avenue North in unincorporated Seminole. Staff recommends conditional approval. Subject property encompasses approximately 1.79 acres and features a detached single-family residence. The current single-family residence the applicant seeks to expand the allowable uses on the property to host a variety of events on the property, including weddings, baby showers, family reunions, corporate retreats, and other gatherings. The applicant intends to have events both held indoors and outdoors, so depending on the season. The applicant has submitted a comprehensive narrative detailing all proposed on-site programming and events. Staff believes that the requested type 2 use for the proposed land use activity, along with the suggested conditions, is appropriate. No new construction is being proposed, as the existing facilities on-site appear to be sufficient for these events. Event activities will be adequately buffered and screened from the abutting residential properties, thereby preventing any further nuisance for nearby residents. We do have outlined a number of conditions on here, mostly relating to code sections on screening, noise, temporary uses if they bring in temporary tents on the property, and also the very last one is to limit the type, number, and hours of operation of the events listed in their event operational plan, which, Molly, can you put that up so we'll show everybody what this is, which the applicant has brought forward to us, and this is one of the items staff recommends. If this is recommended for approval, that this be put in as a condition, which would limit the number of people per event, hours of operation, and parking. They did provide us with a concept plan that shows parking. The applicant has indicated that there will be no buses, shuttles on here, that they can accommodate all the parking on site, that they will have valet staff on there, which I'll let them go into more detail on it. And again, staff recommends conditional approval based on these conditions, including what's up on your screen.
Okay, will the applicant please come forward? I assume we have objectors here, am I correct? Okay. Morning.
Good morning.
Your names and address.
My name is Lauren Monas, and 9551 90th Ave in Seminole, Florida.
All right. My name is Ronald Vigneault. I think you want my home address or the location?
Your home address.
Home address, yeah, 1109 Gulfway in St. Pete Beach, Florida, 33706.
Okay. You want to tell us what you want to do here?
Yeah, so we originally bought this home a little over 2 years ago, and we had the intention of making it a vacation rental. And then we realized very quickly that a lot of people wanted to have small weddings there, family reunions, corporate events, because it is a large home. It's 7 bedrooms, and it's set on close to 2 acres, and it's beautiful and somewhat private. So we want to continue to have this property as a vacation rental for the most part, but then also be allowed to have what we have on the sheet, like very limited events, like a micro wedding of 50 people or less, and that would be, you know, six times a year. I doubt if it would even reach 6 times a year. And those weddings would be contained to 6 hours on a Saturday. And same with like a baby shower. It would be like very controlled if we were allowed to have events there, as opposed to a vacation rental that, you know, we could have people there Monday through Sunday, you know, all hours of the day. The reason why we feel that having events or being more of, we don't want to be an event venue because we're not going to like rent chairs or tents. We don't have any equipment. This is simply a home, a beautiful home that people want to come from all over the world, all over the country. They want to come to Pinellas County and have like, and make their, you know, beautiful memories. But we feel it would actually be more beneficial for the neighborhood because, and we've been really responsible hosts, we feel at least, because in addition to the screening that Airbnb offers in terms of guests, we do additional screening, we do background checks, and we take security deposits. We also hold their license, so we do additional, and we also tell numerous guests that they're not allowed, so we deny a lot of guests too. So we do a heavy screening. We have a very strict 10 p.m. cutoff quiet time. We have signs posted everywhere. I reiterate to guests numerous times before they check in. So the last thing we want to do is disrupt the neighborhood, and we really feel like we have been responsible about that lately, since we've owned the house. And being able to host events would allow us to have a more controlled aspect of what's happening in the house, because like on this sheet, you know, if we just take a baby shower, for example, it would be a maximum of 6 hours on a Saturday or Sunday. And that would be it. You know, they'd have to start at one time and end at the other time. So it's very controlled.
Let me ask you,
Yeah.
hold up for 1 second. I didn't make it 15 minutes into the meeting without ignoring advice of counsel already. I should tell you that I did visit this site. You asked us to disclose that at the beginning of the case. So is there anybody else here who visited this site?
Yes, I also visited the
Yes,
site.
same.
I also visited the site.
Okay, 4 of us visited the site, so just so you know.
Okay.
Continue.
All right, thank you.
So yeah, as
Very
Michael,
controlled. Yeah, good
as,
control
as
environment.
Michael has said, we would have no off. I want to put this up. So we would have no off-street.
If you turn that face up and put it on the logo in the center of the table, there's a camera in the ceiling that will see
Oh,
that
okay.
and put it on the screen.
Got it.
There you go.
So there would be no off-street parking. We have a big yard that would allow cars to be parked. We would have valet. All of our events, you know, especially the weddings, would have a valet that would act not only as a valet in terms of parking, but would act as like a security guard and would have a decibel meter and make sure that in the, you know, 2 hours that there would be music, it wouldn't go beyond what the city, you know, allows. So, and we already have a valet person who does that. Like he will, and he's on board with us that he would be, you know, acting as our eyes and ears and the security guard. You know, making sure that the music level is low enough to not disturb our neighbors. I also feel strongly that it'll help stimulate the local economy too, because it's, you know, these people are going to use local caterers and, you know, maybe
Sure.
rent chairs and tables from local places, you know, and Pinellas County is a hot spot right now at least. And people want to come and have their celebrations here and make their memories here. We just had a surprise 75th birthday party for their mom. You know, it's really nice. It's heartwarming to own a home where people, you know, make memories. And I know our neighbors are here, and I just want them to know that it really is not our intention to create havoc and to create like noise. Like, we really respect them, and that is first and foremost for us. And we also feel like this would help. I know they might not think so, but we definitely do. And we would completely make sure that there would be no disruption in the neighborhood. So
Yeah, because, yeah, I just want to add, Airbnbs, nobody likes Airbnbs in their neighborhood for many reasons, because there's a lot of parties and late and traffic and so on. But we are like a very different type of owners of Airbnb. We're very hands-on. We are the property constantly. We manage the Airbnb ourselves. And even our opponents in the room could admit, you know, that we've done a good job so far. We're very good at screening. Now, the whole idea of doing those events is that they generate more money. And if they do generate more money, we don't need to rent the place at maximum occupancy. So instead of running an Airbnb at 80% like occupancy, we're running it at 30% because the financials are there to support us to pay our mortgage. And that is, I think, the most important thing for our neighbors to understand. If we run at 30% occupancy, it's less disruption in the neighborhood. And when the disruption happens, it's on a Saturday, not on a Monday night. And this is the key here, that I want my neighbors to understand. If they allow us to do this, we're going to keep doing what we've done so far and keep screening very hard, because those events will permit us to still run our Airbnb at 30% occupancy, not like an hotel at 80%. So that's the whole goal, you know.
Can I ask you how many bedrooms you have in this house?
7 bedrooms.
7 bedrooms?
Yeah, five bathroom.
bathroom.
Yeah, it's a big. It's almost 5,000 square foot. Yeah.
Yeah, I visited the house. It's a beautiful house. It's large.
Thank you.
And so the code enforcement officer for the county, is she here, by the way?
Yeah.
She's right there.
Okay. She did indicate that you were advertising the home with a maximum of 28 people to stay there. Is that correct?
Yeah, but that's just, I mean, that's for marketing. So it's just to allow, like, for people to understand it, that, you know, there's large groups that can come
Yeah, it's to
here.
make a statement. It's a large home.
Do you have this part of your submission included this site document? Do you have that page up there? Can you put that down, or do you want to?
I can take this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I
Could you put that down on the table? I wanted to ask you a couple questions on that. So, yeah, okay. So, where you're showing parking for 25 cars, I was under the impression from the rest of your application that that was also the area where a tent would go for a wedding.
Well, we're not going to have tents. We're not going to allow tents, because we were made aware that that was going to add another, like, permit. So we're not going to allow tents.
Yeah, we decided to simplify, you know, what we've been doing, and going in front of you guys allowed us to also like narrow down, like, you know, on paper, our strategies and the number of people, the frequencies, and so on. And tents is not part of a moving forward. We don't want any tents on our property.
So your application called for weddings with a maximum of 50 people, I think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
50 or less.
Yeah, so where would that take place?
Well, we could,
Looking
I
at
mean,
that same site plan.
the good thing about this, well, on the site plan, it would be in the front of the, do you see
On the
where my-
street side of the driveway?
On the
It's-
street, no,
well,
it is
yeah, I
right where
mean,
it says
On
ceremony.
the right-hand side of the driveway as you
Yeah.
drive in.
Yeah, ceremony. That would be the ceremony.
Ceremony, but then the reception after the ceremony?
The reception, it would be in a wood area.
In the back, or, I mean, it could,
It could be vice versa too,
Yeah.
I guess. But those are like what we would suggest.
we also have
I guess.
parking over here, So there's on this side of the house, on the right side of the house.
Yeah, you were showing that as vendor parking where the caterer or others would have to park their vehicles. I understand that.
Yeah. But there's also, in here on the grass, there's also room for like probably another like 10 cars if we had to.
In the materials that we received, there were two, there's a theme of two repeated concerns of the neighbors. One is there was a lot of parking on the street, off-street parking that was just created disruption in the neighborhood, and the other was noise. That often there was noise, and they had to call the sheriff's office, and so those are the concerns that I'm sure you're going to hear from the objectors we've seen in our
Well, we've
evidence that's
only
been
had
submitted.
the sheriff come twice, and those were both for Airbnb guests. Those were not like for weddings or anything like that. They were just Airbnb people who had, music past 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to move away from those normal Airbnb. Those are the harder to control because we're not going to have any valet, any security, any decibel meter. When a guest come, we screen as much as we can, but if they are not respectful of our neighbors, it's hard to control it because we're not there. We don't, we cannot have security for every guest. It's why the event is so good for our neighborhood, but I wish they could see it, but they don't see it yet, That what we're trying to do is actually better for them.
And we've never had off-street parking. I think maybe one of the complaints was that there was a bus in front of one of our neighbors' house, like early on when we first started. I don't know. I mean, we didn't see any bus. We didn't hear of any bus, but we don't allow that. I mean, so there's not going to be, like Michael said, there's not going to be like shuttles, or buses coming in and out.
I got a question for staff. So on the one page, there's the conditional approval for short-term rental that was issued on 3/27. It says max occupancy is 10 persons per zoning code. How many zoning codes does the property encompass?
Well, that's per the short-term rental regulations. So just to clarify, so this came to us via a code enforcement complaint, which identified there's two uses. They're using it for short-term rental and then also for the event. So two separate uses, two separate paths of compliance. What's in front of us today is the event venue, which requires the type 2 path. Short-term rentals is a separate process.
Okay.
So it's two separate. There may be some intertwined about, with complaints and stuff, because there's two uses on there, and sometimes they may overlap if someone's staying there as a short-term rental and having an event. But we're here
Just
strictly
the rental.
for the event space,
Just
yes.
event space, right? Got it. Okay.
And
Thank
just
you.
some additional clarification on that, and that's kind of why I mentioned it at the beginning of the meeting, is that depending on which way this goes, and I don't want to influence that, but whenever a motion is made, the basis for that motion, there's criteria for the type 2 use on pages 2 and 3 of the staff report. And if you find it doesn't meet one of those criteria, please note specifically that. If you find it does meet them, please note that specifically. But that's what we're looking at. We're confined in this review period to what the applications that are before us. The short-term rental, again, I understand that does bleed into the discussion, but it's not a consideration for the board on the vote, up or down.
Thank you.
Was there more information you wanted to relay to us?
Maybe later after.
You'll have a chance to
Yeah,
rebut
exactly.
the
Yeah.
comments.
Okay.
Other questions from board members of the applicants?
I have a question. Can we put up the little chart with the events again? Okay. So theoretically, on a Saturday, we can wrap up a corporate event in the morning,
Yeah.
have a baby shower late morning to mid-afternoon, and then have a wedding in the evening. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah,
No.
but not all on one day. So these would take place on different,
Because don't forget, our guests are living in the house.
they're staying there.
They're staying. It's not we don't do a wedding, you come in, do the wedding, you leave. You have to rent on Airbnb.
So any event that's
Yeah.
listed here
Yeah.
is held by the occupants of the house.
Yeah, they have to.
Exactly.
So that's why I said first and foremost, we're a vacation rental. And
Gotcha.
that's why we bought the house originally, is because Airbnb. But then we started realizing, oh, they're having birthday parties, oh, they're having corporate events, and we're like, okay, so this is kind of an event venue also, but we don't want to be an event venue. We're not going to have anything to rent. This is a vacation rental, and we want our guests to, when they ask us, hey, can I have a wedding, can I have a baby shower, we want to be able to say yes and have that, be supported by the city, so.
What is the turnaround time from the time someone checks out to the time someone checks in?
So they check in at 4 p.m. and they check out at 10 a.m., although sometimes we allow an earlier check-in and a later checkout.
And it's a
But
minimum of 2 days.
2 nights.
2 nights, yeah. 2 nights minimum. But usually they'll take long, maybe an extra day.
Gotcha. And regarding events, this calendar is a calendar year,
Yeah,
so it's 365 days.
right, yeah.
And then I'm curious what your contingency plan is for inclement weather
Yeah, so,
without having tents.
yeah, indoors. We have an overhang in the pool, and they can set tables out there, or they can go indoors.
Yeah, it's a very large, if you've been to did you go to the back to the pool?
No.
Okay, it's a very large, basically a living room outside, a humongous kitchen, and also a dining room. It's all outside, it's all covered, so if it rains, because we limit now to 50 people, they can all gather there underneath that. And also we have a large carport. And also guests can go in the house. It's a very large home, with 2 living room and
So
Two dining room,
what we're
yeah.
presenting is, it's like not even half the weekends in a year, It's six weddings. And we said that because we want to put a boundary around it, but it's very unlikely to get all of these events
yeah.
that we're presenting to you guys. But we needed to put a number to it. So, in terms of neighborhood disruption, it's going to be a lot less disruptive than having, people come in and out constantly throughout the week, throughout the entire year.
with no control on them, because they're just guests.
Sorry, so fully booked, you're 16
18.
18 events?
Yeah,
It's 6 plus 4 plus 4.
yeah,
Yeah.
18.
It's 18.
18, yeah. But those are the maximum. So, for instance, corporate event, probably 0.
No,
Birthday,
like 1.
maybe 1. Birthday party, maybe 1. But I think the wedding is what our neighbors don't like. I mean, a birthday party, someone could book our house, do it, and we'll probably not know about it, So, but we're just being fully disclosed. If we know about it, we're going to be max it out at 4,
But
a
the
birthday
ones,
party.
the ones that want to rent chairs, or they want to rent
Yeah.
tables, that's what we consider an official event. If you're going to bring a vendor onto our property, that's what we consider an event. And so, that would be included in one of these.
And I think what our neighbors don't like is the wedding.
Yeah.
And I think what gave us a bad name is we had one wedding that was loud with a tent, and they see that as becoming a problem in the future, and we're not going to do that. So, and we clearly say that in this, and Michael talked about it, no more tents, no more big band outside.
Question of staff, which is, who or how are the number of events monitored? How do we know?
Well,
Nobody's keeping
This-
count.
And this is my question, is that, currently, there's restrictions because of the codes, but if this goes to, approved, although your business model says that we're only going to plan on having, on the weddings, we're going to have a frequency of maximum of 6 weddings per year. Well, that's written on a piece of paper right now, but that your business plan could change next month, correct? I mean, there's nothing that precludes or prevents you
Well,
from
I
changing a
believe-
business plan.
I believe our neighbors will keep track of it,
Well, and therein lies the bugaboo. I mean, if you needed to pull a permit for each event, we could keep track of it through the permit process, but nobody's counting, and that, just creates a difficult situation to monitor.
Well, we
So-
could report it to you. I mean, that's not a problem with us. Like, we could say, okay, someone just booked, here's,
I hear you, but we're not in that business either.
Yeah. I mean, I also want to reiterate that this is a very strong need. This is a missing industry in Florida, I think, or in Pinellas County. There's a strong desire for people to come, and have their event here at an Airbnb. It's a new thing, and I think, I know we're not the only ones doing this, but having an approved venue would really, I think, support Pinellas County. It would support the economy too,
Yeah.
in a big way.
You have the 2 houses on either side of you, though. They're on smaller lots, and they're actually pretty close to your property. So I have that concern that having, events in a tight neighborhood can be disruptive.
Yeah, but we have to look at the bigger picture. Doing an Airbnb in Seminole is absolutely legal. There's no restriction. So we're going to keep
You
operating
can do
as
an
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Yeah.
And you can put 10 people in there.
Yeah,
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk
Yeah, I
about
know.
having events at your
but
Airbnb.
that's the flip side of if we don't get approved, that's what we're going to run it as an Airbnb. And is it better to have an Airbnb next door as a neighbor or to have a controlled event where that business is run at 30% occupancy versus 80% since...
You're going to continue to have the Airbnb even
Yeah,
with
exactly.
these events. I mean, it's not an either or.
It would be different.
Well,
It
I
would be
mean,
a different business model.
If I was a neighbor, I would rather have a controlled event next door than have an Airbnb. And we know what Airbnb, I mean, we're going to do our best to run it and do the most background check. But if we have to increase capacity, like occupancy, in the mix, we'll get a bad apple. I mean, it's just inevitable because you can screen as much as you want. People are really nice, they look good, nothing in the background, and they show up to the property and they throw a party. And it's unfortunate, but it will happen. It's just Airbnbs are like that,
Because right now we have our price set pretty high.
Yeah.
That's an additional way to screen people. But, we're going to have to lower it considerably if we're not allowed or if this doesn't get accepted.
Yeah, which
So-
is not what we want to do. It's why we wish our neighbors understood that if we do lower our price, we get bad apples. Actually, we have a letter of recommendation from our neighbors in the back. He understands that he owns 3 Airbnb. He said, "You guys are doing an amazing job. I'm impressed how the level of noise." And our pool is right next to his pool. They're the closest neighbor, and he approved us. The
Do
letter
you
is
have
right
that
here.
letter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he says, you guys are doing an amazing job because you're screening a lot. Your price is really high. I don't know if you saw the price. Like we ran between $1,000 to $2,000 a night, and that allows us to get the best guests. High-paying guests are usually very respectful, and they respect the rules, the house rule, the noise. So
But
that's
hasn't
what
the
we want to
sheriff,
keep
hasn't
doing.
the sheriff been out to your place numerous times for noise complaints?
Yeah, so we
Twice.
had 3 calls, and one of them was our neighbor at the beginning, Lily. Her husband is here, Al. They were very concerned that we were going to run a bad business, so they called the cops on us right at the beginning. And we made a lot of adjustments after that, and we started doing the deposit. The deposit changes a lot of things because people are afraid to lose their deposit if they go against our house rule, which is quiet time at 10 o'clock. So, and they can testify that, our neighbors, they're right here. We got the noise under control, you know, we got much better. Like anything, you know, you get
And
better
then
with time.
there's just one more time that a sheriff was called, and it was an Airbnb guest, and he was playing music past 10
Yeah, it was
o'clock.
2 Airbnb after.
It was both, yeah.
That made the noise. So it's why what we're proposing is a control environment. There'll be no police coming because we have a security on site with a decimal meter.
Not,
Yeah.
that's for an event.
Yeah.
Yeah, for an
If you're
event,
not
that's why,
having
yeah.
an event
Yeah.
and 10 kids from a fraternity at FSU rent your place, it only costs them $50 a piece to come up with $1,000 to rent your place to have a party.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a sound system out by your pool. It's asking for, you know, havoc at your home.
But
Exactly. That's why we don't want.
controlled event space
That's
is
why we don't want to
better.
increase our capacity. I mean, our occupancy, and we don't want to lower our price, and we want to keep doing what we're doing. At the end of the day, we have a mortgage to pay. If we can pay it with the events, under a controlled environment, it's better. We don't piss off our neighbors. Everybody's happy. Now, we don't do that. We need to lower our price to increase occupancy. We're going to make the same money at the end of the day, but we're going to be much more disruptive in the neighborhood. Because now we have a bunch of people coming for less than $1,000 a night. They can afford it, like you say, a bunch of kids, $50 each. And now they can throw a party. And we cannot catch all of them. You know, we might be able to catch a few and tell them, you know, they're not welcome to our property. But it becomes harder and harder. The lower the lower the price is, the easier for the bad people to come in and do
Not
the
bad
nasty.
people, not bad people.
I mean,
but,
no, the
like,
people that you don't want as a neighbor, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not bad people, but they throw a party, and that's not good for the neighborhood.
One just quick question for staff again, sorry. So I remember before, we had that case with the horse facility. Was that zoned differently where they had to apply for permits for their events? I'm just trying to see if there was a distinction between that.
That's a good question you brought up. I was gonna clarify is how we would monitor these. One of the conditions is complying with section 138.3356, temporary use, which would mean every time they hold one of these events, they would need to submit a zoning clearance, request a zoning clearance.
Oh.
So then that would be filed, and we would have a record of it. So then, if there was an event held and code enforcement was called and we did not have a zoning clearance, then they would be in violation of it. And that's a similar thing which we did with the other ones when they hold events when, especially if you need tents, anything like that is gonna require a zoning clearance. If you put tents out there, it may trigger fire review. It's same with these temporary events, depending on the size and what they show they're going to do, may require, you know, the fire marshal to take a look at it as well. So that's why we require these these temporary events like this on a property.
Question for,
Yeah.
with Airbnb, my understanding from based on recent news and reading in articles and stuff like that, Airbnb is, do they not have a requirement that you're not allowed to have parties?
No, they make it optional. In fact, there's something on your profile that you fill out. Are you allowed to have parties here? Yeah.
And we don't
We
allow
actually,
that.
we check that off, so it's a no. But when we get an inquiry, we say, well, you know, here's what's going on. So, because we're not going to just allow anyone to throw parties. You know, this is a controlled atmosphere. Yeah.
And then second question is, some of the pictures that were shown that shows that there were tents and stuff like that involved in the past, I guess.
Yeah.
At that time, were those permitted, and did the fire marshals come out and they do a pre-site inspection or anything like that?
No, we weren't aware that we needed that.
Okay.
I didn't realize that a tent was like considered like another
Structure.
structure. Yeah, I had no idea.
I have a question maybe just for staff are all tents created equally? If I pop up a tent from my car, is
Yeah.
it similar to a vendor tent?
No, it depends upon the size and the occupancy. Once you reach a certain size, then that triggers a fire marshal that would need to look at it.
So anything under that size to trigger the fire marshal,
Yeah,
not a tent, even though it's a cover?
Yeah, we still look at, we still want you to provide us information on the tent, and that'll be looked at by staff, make sure it meets the zoning requirements. But then if it triggers, building to get involved and fire to get involved, then it'll be looked at that time when submitted.
Thank you.
Also, some tents have walls, so is there a difference between a tent that has walls versus just like a top?
Let's see here.
I don't believe so, because all the tent people, I've rented tents, they all have that option, you want side curtains or not. So I think that's part of
It's the same structure.
Part of the same structure, yeah. To answer your question, if you go camping in your backyard, limit the size of your tent.
And forgive me if you've already answered the question, but do you all live on the property, and do you plan on attending all the events personally?
We don't live on the property. We live 15 minutes away. And we are in communication with, our neighbors. Our neighbors will let us know if there's something going on, and, we have showed up there when there's a problem. So we're hands-on, we're available all the time. We are never on vacation. We don't travel. We're here. And what was your other question?
Oh, will you be attending the events, or will you?
No,
we
no,
have-
but we have the valet.
We have 10 cameras too. I watch
Oh,
the
yeah, we have
camera.
outdoor cameras
I watch
everywhere.
the camera, I make sure, people are respectful to my beautiful property, because I put a lot of love and care into it. I'm there, and my neighbors can testify. I'm there often, and I have a friend employee that help me. So we're really hands-on. We're not like an out-of-state Airbnb owner that doesn't care with a management company. We're hands-on. We love our property. We don't want it to be damaged. We don't want the wrong people to get in there, and throw a party.
And also the valet we're hiring the valet. It's not the people who are having the event. So that makes a difference, because they'll hire whoever. But we have our own valet who is our eyes and ears. He's on speed dial for us, and he's great. I mean, he's a security guard. So it's like us. We don't really have to be there because he's there.
Do you own other rental properties? How many of these Airbnb type properties do you have?
We have one other Airbnb.
Just
We
one?
had 2, but we lost one in Clearwater Beach.
Yeah,
With
Helene.
the hurricane. So
Helene.
actually, the house is being destroyed right now. Yeah.
And is the other one also used for events and
No.
things? So this listing on Booking.com, the one that says sleeps 28, events, salt pool / spa, outdoor kitchen.
We don't use Booking. We're not on Booking.
This is not your house?
Well, it is, but we used to use Booking. That was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even know we're still on
Yeah,
Booking.com.
I canceled with them.
So you were on Airbnb and
Airbnb.
VRBO,
Yep.
and what do you show as capacity on those?
We have a Sleeps 28, yeah,
That sleeps 28,
yeah.
because that's, well, we're not here for the Airbnb, we're here for the events. All right. Is there anything else you want to tell us at this time?
I think we're good.
Okay. Let's let you take your seats, and I'll ask the opponents. Do you have, opponents, I think, have a spokesperson?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Brian Ungst, 625 Court Street. I'm here on behalf of adjacent property owner Ron Bone and contract purchaser to the property adjacent to Mr. Bone's, Dan Zarilla. And I would ask not to exceed 10 minutes.
Okay.
I think that's fair. And obviously we'll be concise, and you already touched on many of the points we were going to address. I have this to hand out before I start my time, if that's all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to be using the overhead, but this is obviously a PowerPoint presentation. So again, I represent Mr. Bone and Mr. Zerillo. Mr. Bone is the adjacent property owner directly across the street, and Mr. Zerillo is under contract to buy the property adjacent to Mr. Bone's. If you turn to the first page, you can see the red outline is the subject property, the applicant's property, and the green outline is Mr. Bone's property. The property that Mr. Zarilla is under contract to purchase is to the right of Mr. Bone's property. They did receive notice. They are affected parties. Mr. Chair, the issue here is that the applicant is not asking you for permission to do something new. The applicant is asking you for trust and for forgiveness for something they've been doing illegally for 2 years. And that is hosting large events without any legal right to do so. A type 2 approval is a privilege. It's not a property right. It only becomes a right if, in your opinion, they meet all the approval criteria. And I'm going to explain to you why they don't, and why their own testimony should give you heavy doubts about your ability to trust them to operate the property in compliance with even the way they represent to you they want to operate it. Moving on to the second page, you can see that this is the June 18th email from Code Enforcement Inspector Shana Patrick. And this property was issued warning notices to the owners as an event venue and a short-term rental without requisite approval. So we're not here to specifically talk about the short-term rental, but they were doing that illegally also. They didn't have the approvals to do that until very recently. And as you have picked up on as a board, they're marketing it illegally to this day, which in and of itself is a violation. And the code enforcement officer outlines that here. The owners continue to advertise accommodations for 28 persons and for the site to be utilized as an event and wedding venue without yet having obtained the approval from the Board of Adjustment. And they have a court case on July 30th. So they're not in compliance right now with even the conditions that they are representing to you that they want you to approve. So how could you possibly trust them to approve that today? This is their website. Call Lauren. It's Royal Pine Estate. They are advertising events up to 150 people. They just told you they want to cap their events at 50. They're not even supposed to have events. And they're actively marketing events up to 150 people. They're also marketing stays of up to 28. Again, as you know, the code is very clear. You are limited to 10 occupants. So the issue here is this is a residential estate zoned single-family neighborhood. Residential estate. This is from section 138-3666 of the code. The residential estate district provides for large lot, low-density residential communities. This is supposed to be a low-density residential community. This is their site plan. Does jamming 30 cars less than a few feet off of the neighbor to the west property line look like a low-density use?
25.
25? Does putting cocktail reception just a few feet from the neighbor to the north pool look like a low-density use? Having a ceremony just feet away from the neighbor to the west? Vendor parking literally right next to the home of the neighbor to the east? This is the opposite of low density. This is high intensity in what's supposed to be a low-density neighborhood. It should be noted, the applicants just bought the property 2 years ago. It was a single-family home. This is what this neighborhood is, and this is how this neighborhood has existed, which is why you have basically unanimity in the neighbors opposing the application. So in order to approve the type 2 use approval, you have to find that it's consistent with the comprehensive plan. We believe that it is not, because it is not consistent with the residential estate zoning, which is low-density residential uses. If it truly was just for, a small birthday party or something, that'd be a different story. But the proof's in the pudding, right? I can't show you a pig and tell you that, it's a dolphin. If it's a pig, it's a pig. You can see it, and you can see what they're doing just through your own questioning and through their own testimony and through your own common sense. So the second criteria, it's got to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. The second criteria, and this is a big one where I think objectively you can find denial, is that there's adequate separation of the proposed use and related structures from adjacent and nearby uses by screening devices, buffer area, and other appropriate means. This is So here's the ceremony. Here's cocktails. This is the space that they're using. That's the neighbor's house. It's like 10 feet away from the reception area. And you're gonna have amplified music and DJs and noise. I mean, how could you possibly condition this in a way where it would be consistent with a low-density residential use? I mean, that's the struggle. And they haven't given you any competent substantial evidence that they can do that. The burden is on them. The burden is not on me to overcome their case. They have to prove that they meet all these criteria by competent substantial evidence, and they don't. They don't meet that burden, and they objectively don't meet the criteria. Again, on this adequate separation, these are vendor trucks taken from the neighbor's property. They're just feet away. And these look like almost agricultural estates. That's what these are supposed to be. So there's no buffers along the western and southern portions of the property other than a waist-high fence. So this idea that there's any kind of buffering or separation, it doesn't exist. And what does exist is entirely inadequate and is not consistent with the comprehensive plan. The third approval criteria is another big one that you all have picked up on. Adequate drives, walkways, and parking are available or proposed that no vehicular circulation or parking problems are created. Again, they're looking to park between 25 and 30 cars in their site plan. And this is a dead-end street. Section 138-3294 states that parking lots should be located behind the front of a building. Well, in this case, they're in the front yard. So they're not even complying with the code section for parking. Frankly, if you do approve this, I don't know how they're going to get through site plan approval, because they still have to go to site plan approval. And as you know, that's a very, very detailed review, and I have no clue how they could possibly get this parking approved through a site plan approval. We're also very concerned about, this is a dead-end road. I mean, how is this going to impact emergency trucks? God forbid there's a fire at one of these large events. How is the fire truck going to get in here? How's an ambulance going to get in here? What if one of the neighbors has a heart attack and has to have the ambulance, but there's all these cars in the street? These are real concerns that are not adequately addressed. I don't even think they're addressed at all by the applicant. Section 138-241, additional approval criteria. Criteria number 5. Drainage problems will not be created on the subject property. Well, we're not going to hang our hat on that, but we have suspicions that the more intense use you pack onto this site, it could very well create stormwater issues for the neighbors, but that's not what we're hanging our hat on. And then number 6, all provisions and requirements of the applicable zoning district will be met unless otherwise varied by authorized reviewing body. And again, I think that's just like number 1. The requirements of the zoning district are low-density residential uses. And so we do not believe that fits. The applicant is advertising for 150-person events. That's 300% more than they're telling you. They're telling you they want 50. Even 50 is too much. And they're advertising for 28 overnight guests, which is 280% more than the code allows, which is only 10. So in summary, Mr. Chair, we don't believe they meet the approval criteria number 1. It's not consistent with the comprehensive plan or the zoning district. We certainly don't think they meet criteria number 2, that there's adequate separation and buffering. We certainly don't think they meet criteria number 3, which is that there's adequate driveways, walkways, and parking. We don't think they meet number 4, which says the proposed use will not create excessive vehicular traffic or traffic problems. I mean, I don't know what could create more vehicular problems for a residential estate neighborhood than this use. And then finally, the last criteria, which is that all provisions and requirements of the applicable zoning district will be met. And here's some just additional pictures. Again, this is the neighbor's home, right next to where they're doing these events. You can see it again here and here. And so the idea that there's any kind of separation, I think, is not correct. This is already a problem. This is a problematic use. This is already a problem, and it's a problem because they didn't get permission to do it before they started doing it. And so the question is, how can you trust them to abide by any of these conditions? And a lot of these conditions are so subjective and difficult to maintain. Mr. Cerna, you asked them, are you going to be actively managing this property? And they said, no, I'm not going to be there. My valet is going to manage it. Valet is not a security guard. Valet is not responsible for maintaining order and making sure noise isn't too loud. They're going to let the guests bring their own DJs and amplified music. I mean, amplified music under the code is not allowed to be oriented in a residential district. So that alone is a basis to deny it. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Mr. Bone or Mr. Zuriel, did you want to add anything just really briefly? Or we
I don't have anything to add. I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for my clients?
Questions? Are there other objectors that want to speak?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Al O'Donnell, I live at 9547. I live on the east side of him, so I'm right at his property. And I can tell you, my wife has called the cops more times than we've ever called the cops on anybody. And I've never called a cop on a neighbor before until he started with the parties. And we've called them all the time. And I'll tell you, nobody wants the Airbnb. Who wants a convention center in a residential neighborhood with this street? If you guys drove down that street, you see how narrow it is. How are you putting that many cars and keeping the people safe around you? I have a 14-year-old daughter. It's not good for her. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Other objectors here that want to speak? Colin?
Good morning. My name is Maurice Osborne. This is my husband, Martin. I reside at 9561 90th Avenue. I oppose the rezoning for the following. My first concern is my house is to the west of the Airbnb. We have a nice, big, outdoor livable area right next to their wedding venue area. They have had multiple weddings there already, so I kind of already know what's coming going forward. There is zero buffer barrier to these events, which make it extremely noisy, to the point where, and I have a teenage daughter too, she's home, college, does all her studies at home, everything's online these days, and the windows shake in my house, and I have the double pane windows on that side of the house. So what we do is we've left a couple times during these so-called events, and it hasn't been one, it's been many. They were stating 2 hours of music. No, it's been more like 4 and 5 hours, as you guys know. You guys have been to weddings, you know, they start with, and they've had the bands there, they sing, then they bring in DJs in the evening hours, the late evening hours, and it's the, you know, the boom, 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 and then my house is rattling, the windows rattling. I told my husband, I said, we can't be here for these going forward. This is awful. It's just nothing but noise from that perspective. My second concern is parking is a serious problem, as you all know. I've spoken to the Airbnb owners, and they said that they are using the public school right around the corner property to park cars and bus the patrons in. I've seen it, and that's what they do. That's a huge liability on Pinellas County. They do not have any parking of their own. They also have little signs all over their property that says no parking on the grass. I'm thinking, so, you know, I don't know what's going on there, but they haven't allowed any parking on their grass up to now. And so what happens is they have to use our driveways, easements, to turn around, and it's terribly disruptive. Blocks traffic in and out of here. We can't even get out of our driveway. If there were certain times that we wanted to leave, you know, the people have to back up. You know, somebody has to wait to pull out, and I've witnessed it. They have the Uber and the Lyft drivers. I know they say valet, but of course the patrons want to get out of there, and they're on their phones calling the Uber, and those Ubers shoot down. I've witnessed them sitting in our driveway for minutes, 15, 20 minutes. You know, obviously I can't sleep. I'm up, I have dogs. I take the dogs out during all this. And there was an Uber driver sitting in our driveway one, waiting for the patron to come out, but once he got the patron in, he couldn't back out. There was a bus sitting there waiting to pick everybody up. And I'll conclude with the second concern with the parking. I've also witnessed to several times public urination. You know, that's a problem. I mean, I don't know. I'm not too appreciative of all that. And I'll tell you where that's come from, are the workers to these venues, since there's been so many of them. And, you know, and I'm confronted with them, like, I don't say anything, but I'm like, wow, you know, this is not what I signed up for when I bought my house 20 years ago. You know, it's been really quiet, a really nice neighborhood up till.
Are you on the west side?
I am on the west side, yes, yeah.
Is this your house in the picture, the
It
cream-colored
is,
house?
yeah. Yeah. So lastly, I think it's really important to make everyone aware of the Airbnb owners' desperate, harassing behavior towards me. They have harassed me by phone calls, and I have phone call logs, text, made many threatening statements, showed up to my doorstep, desperate to speak to me face to face. When I've told them over and over, you know, there's nothing you can say. I've said this through these phone calls. My daughter was there, teenage daughter was there, and she heard one of them, and the whole thing, and the threats, and she just couldn't believe it. As she's sitting there, and so what he did on this particular day, he wanted to meet me face to face and kept saying it. And I told him there was no reason to. I've made up my mind, and I'm not changing it. I never have on anything, especially like this. Pounding on my door, trying to open the door, screaming at me that they can see me in my house with my daughter. He was working, dogs barking. It was just chaotic. And walking around the perimeter of my house. This all left me no choice but to call the sheriff's office. I have a copy of the police report right here, if anybody would like to see it. The threatening statements, you're probably thinking, what? He'd say, there was many. This is a couple of them. If you don't sign the support letter, you're not going to like what happens. If you don't do this, this is not going to go well for you. And roundabout, and you say, this isn't going to go well for you and your family. I mean, those type of statements. And it was over and over, and that's why it's kind of real clear in my mind. So this is where I draw the line. I wasn't going to meet him face to face with those threats, and I would never support anyone who treats me like that, ever. And I conclude.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here who wants to speak in opposition? Can I ask the code enforcement officer to come up? Hi, can you kind of just tell us, you know, the facts of what you have observed and been called out for?
Yes. So our department received a concern about an event venue and the manner in which it's been presented to the board from both sides. And so during our investigation, we found that they do not have an approval. We had conversations with them after issuing a warning notice. They continued to operate their event, or at least advertise for that, without receiving approval or applying for approval from the zoning department. So we had no other recourse but to issue a fine. That fine has resulted in a pending hearing that is scheduled for July 30th. So we await the outcome of the board's decision and the application for approval through the zoning department, which may or may not occur prior to the July 30th hearing. So that's where we're at with it. I echo what Attorney Ongst has presented, only to the extent that I am the author of that correspondence that he presented on the camera. And Those facts are true.
I neglected to get your name before you testify. Can
I'm
you-
sorry, Officer Shannon Patrick.
Thank you. Any questions?
Ms. Patrick, how many times have you, has your department been called out to the site approximately in the past 2 years?
We only recently visited the site when this issue was called to our attention, which I believe was just in the winter of 2024. So we went to the site a couple of times to observe. We found no evidence, obviously, during a weekday when we're primarily in operation. We're not going to see an event. So we utilize social media and the advertisements where they present what they're asking for approval today. I was at the property with the investigating officer during service of citation, so I can only talk about how big the property is.
Thank you.
So.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Would the applicant like to come back to rebut the comments of the objectors?
So, there's a way to oppose something without lying and exaggerating. I'm actually appalled at what the lawyer said and what some of our neighbors said. If there were so many calls to the sheriff that one of our neighbors said, where are they? Show us proof. Because that's not the truth. And the fact of the matter is Maurice does not leave. Her windows do not shake. The amount of lies in this room right now is appalling. I understand you don't want this. I'm talking to my neighbors. But there's a way to tell the truth and oppose something. And do you have that sheet that the lawyer, because this is the first time I'm seeing it. Do you have the
Look
sheet?
at her laughing.
No,
This is the
stop.
proof. She's lying through her teeth.
Please.
Nothing is true.
All right.
She lied the whole
That
way.
has no place in this hearing.
Yeah.
Just stop, Ron.
No, but
Do you have the sheet?
she's laughing.
That the lawyer gave you? Because there's things that I'd like to point out. Our website, this was taken down over a year ago. So I don't know where he's coming up with this. We do not allow 150 people. I don't know where this is coming from. We did have a website, I'm not gonna lie about that, but we took it down. I remember when we were in I think the first meeting with him, or maybe even with Sergeant Patrick. I don't remember when we took it down, but it was at least a year ago. We honestly, we didn't understand, because the code for bed and breakfasts, and this is not a bed and breakfast, but there's a gray area, I believe, because a bed and breakfast is allowed to have events. That's what the Pinellas County Code says. And I don't have the number of the code, but understanding that this is not a bed and breakfast, but this is something very similar, we were not under the impression, we didn't know that we would need another permit or type 2 variance for this. That's why we were operating under this business model until we understand from the sergeant that it's not allowed. Let's see what else. Yeah, so, and this is Maurice's house, and this was a set-up wedding. This wasn't an actual wedding. This was just for pictures. We are not going to have, this is where our parking's gonna be, so this is not where the ceremony is going to be anymore. So that's not going to bother her like maybe it did in the past, like we had a couple of weddings. She's saying that we're having tons of weddings. We're not. We haven't had actually one wedding since we've been under this review. And in terms of parking, we've never had, oh yeah, that was another thing that she said. We've never parked at the school.
Yeah.
That's a straight up lie. So I don't know where she's getting that from. If you have proof, please show us. This truck, yeah, I mean, trucks come if they rent tables and chairs. Trucks are going to pull in. But we've also discussed with the previous review board that there needs to be room for fire emergencies and ambulances to come. And we're clear on that. Like the driveway is going to stay clear so they can come in, you know, and do whatever kind of emergency they need to do and then leave. Because the parking is going to be somewhere else. The cars are not going to be blocking it. And there's adequate drives and walkways. I mean, I don't like, yeah, I just, there was a lot that was just said, and unfortunately I didn't have a pen to write it all down, but there's a lot of exaggeration and a lot of lies happening, unfortunately. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. And Ron and I are standing up here just being honest, and I wish other people were being honest right now, because that's not how you oppose people. So, anything else?
How many
I know,
events
I'm
have
sure I'm
already
forgetting
taken
things.
place?
What?
How many weddings or events have already taken place?
Probably like 6.
Yeah, in 2 years. And we've been very communicative about them. We told the neighbors, you know, and they have the text about it. They could show it to you. We tell them, you know, we have the text too. And I'm very surprised to see my neighbors opposing this.
We were friendly with
And-
them up until now, and Maurice will tell you they stood out there talking to each other. I
Yeah.
mean, we have been friends with them. I mean, we can show you text. It's very friendly. It has been a very friendly relationship, and you know, this is so unfortunate that this happened. That this needs to happen this way, because even if there is opposition, again, like, we can stay friendly, but now that we're seeing the lies come out in front of people who are just trying to make a decision, you know, I mean, I'm all for honesty and truth, but there's very little of it coming from the opposition. And I am going on record in saying that, so.
Yeah.
I have one question. So you mentioned a couple of times it's going to be a controlled environment, and you don't have any specific person that's going to be there to control that environment. You say you have valet. Now, they're going to be managing the cars. How do they manage the people, the place, the volume, and all of that while they're managing the cars?
Well, so in the 6-hour time, you know, people arrive and the valet will park the cars. And then, you know, the people will go to the ceremony. If we're talking about a wedding, people will go to the ceremony. But there's a big chunk of time where there's nothing happening with cars. You know, the valets are just kind of standing there twiddling their thumbs. So in that case, they will be our eyes and ears. And we're 20 minutes away from the property. If need be, if we need to show up, you know, if that's one of the criteria that you guys suggest, then we would, you know, because it's important.
But we'll be watching the camera as well, so we're going to be hands-on. We run our own Airbnb. We're really
And
hands-on.
yeah, and what the lawyer, I think the lawyer said that we're not managing our property, that we're going to have a valet manage it. That's wrong. We are very hands-on. We manage everything. We do everything with this property. The only thing is we're just not going to show up when there's an event. We could if that's one of the criteria, but that's the whole point of us hiring a valet to do that for us. And I'm just giving him the name of a valet, but he's going to be doing multiple jobs.
Yeah, and we haven't done the decibel meter, but this is part of the plan moving forward to make sure, you know, the sound is up to Pinellas County regulation, because it goes down as the night progress. You know, at 10 o'clock there's a decibel, and after it keeps going down, and we'll honor that. Yeah.
I just had concerns about, you said 50 people, and if you don't have anybody managing those, when you get to the cap of 50, how do you know that, and who's managing those people?
Oh, yeah, well, I forgot to mention that for weddings in particular, there's always an event planner, like a wedding planner. So in addition, the valet is for us. Like, we're like, okay, you are the person who's like making sure everything is copacetic. But the wedding party will always have a wedding planner who is managing where people go, how many people there are. And yeah, I mean, so there's 2 people really on property that are managing the event. And that's for a wedding, yeah.
So I have a question about the valet, and thank you for triggering that. So during weddings, the valet is hired by you?
Yeah,
And do you pass the cost on
exactly.
to?
Well, it's just included in whatever the,
package? And
yeah.
is there an option to opt out of valet?
No.
So they have to have?
No, because again, we're using the valet for multiple uses. You know, like we don't want our property to get ruined either. So we're concerned about the neighbors. We're also concerned about our property. So, you know, that valet, if he sees people like trashing our house, you know, he's going to
Yeah.
tell us.
We
So
have
the
your
va-
best interest.
Yeah, just, so the valet is included in the wedding package? Is it
Yeah.
included in the shower package?
No, I mean,
No.
for the smaller events,
Yeah,
they're,
and then also the birthday package? No?
no, because it's just going to be smaller, much smaller numbers. The valet would be only for the wedding. That's 50 and under.
So when you have the valet, do they drive onto the property or do they drive out front of the property?
So they'll be,
Yeah, you want to put
The reason I just had a concern about that was, you know, I drove by the property. I saw the curtilage area, half of the grass was gone and it was dirt. And I thought maybe it was like that. I pulled up the Google Earth image from 2 years ago and that was not an issue. So I'm just wondering, are there people parking in the front? Is a valet picking up in the front? And why is that the case? Why is the grass dead? Why is it dirt now?
oh, Hurricane Helene killed everything.
So where's the grass?
The dirt
It's
area that used to be grass.
the 90th on 90th Avenue North in front of the house.
Oh, not on the
South
side.
of the walkway, there's like what happens usually when people park on curtilage area that has grass and you pull up about halfway through, it tears up the grass. And so the grass eventually gets washed away. And I didn't know if it was just like that. So that's why I looked up the image from 2 years ago and it looks like there was. So my question was, are there people parking there? Is that why the
No,
the dirt
Hurricane
is there?
Helene, like,
I'd like to know where
you're talking about outside the white fence?
Yeah, so like
the street? On the
so-
street?
Yes, yeah, by the street in
Yeah,
front of
so
the property.
between the street and the white fence, like under the
Right,
trees?
yes.
Okay, so yeah, so we had
a
some
few people
park there.
park nose in,
Yeah.
but we're not going to allow that anymore. But I don't think that created
Because
like
we-
all the dirt. I don't know if there's a lot of dirt there, but Hurricane Helene like wiped out. I mean, if you see the big area that we're going to park the cars now, that used to be all grass and now it's like dirt.
No, it's all grass now.
Well, because you planted
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it was always all grass now,
Because
but
you planted it, yeah.
yeah, because with Eileen, all the trees came down. There was a lot of trees that we had to pick up, and so we went with a little machine to get the trees. So it got a little damage, but it's all green now. It's
So in
beautiful.
terms
We
of-
planted grass.
In
Yeah.
terms of the parking, they're gonna come in and then pull into the driveway, the guests. Pull into the driveway, the valet's gonna be right there, the valet's gonna take their car, put it on the grass, and the guest is gonna go wherever they need to go, and then they're gonna pull in. So there's not gonna be any like cars waiting in the street. There's not gonna be off-street parking. There's not gonna be any school parking.
So there was before, but you're just
Well,
gonna change it now? Is
It
that
was,
kind
I
of
mean, very few, like, cars would go nose in, towards the fence. And that was just like maybe a vendor that needed to leave early, they would park out there because they didn't want to be like, use the parking area.
So the vendors, they're hired by you when you set up the event, or the people
They would be
hosting?
hired by the guests,
So the guests hire the vendors.
yes.
How do they tell, so it's their responsibility to tell the vendors not to park in the front?
No, we talk to all the vendors before I get their certificate of insurance. They put me on their COI, so I'm in contact with all the vendors. I vet them first. Usually I have a preferred vendor list that people like to use because they've already been to the property. If they want to hire their own caterer, they're allowed to, but they need to talk to me. I need to vet them out first. And we're always like super clear on parking and noise too.
You can always, sorry, but you can be clear on what's supposed to happen, but what does actually happen at the time of the event could be two entirely different things. So are
Sure.
you there to supervise at the beginning of the event? To make sure that the parking for the vendors are?
Well, the valet is going to do that, yeah.
Yeah, and we have cameras, and when there's something going on like this on our house, we have we're very interested in knowing if everything has been respected, you know.
And to go back to my other question, you said that you had 6 events that happened prior. And what were the, how many attendees were there at these events?
Are you talking
And
about-
were permits actually, did we know about any of these events?
We did not know about these events, no.
Are you talking about,
You said you had 6 prior events?
yeah,
So what were the,
like, maybe like 50 to 75. There was a wedding that was 75 people. And that's about it. I mean, everything has been under. We get, I would say the most requested amount for weddings is like 35 people. A lot of people just want small, intimate weddings.
Any other questions?
So,
All right, okay.
Oh, sorry, just one more thing. So, okay, so your website, the Royal Pine Estate, so there's a couple different versions of it, and I just was concerned, because, I mean, you guys still have,
But there shouldn't be a website. Are you pulling it up right now?
yeah, I am pulling up right now.
I don't understand.
So
On what?
it says, it allows me to pick the type of event, reception, wedding ceremony, baby shower, arrival date, departure date, wedding date, how many people.
Well, we took it down, and I can show you my conversation with the IT person. We took it down over a year
So
ago.
one of them is taken down. If you search the website, it's taken down and it just has a header. If you go down the Google, if you search your address and go down the Google search, then there's another link to a website that is still active. And then we have like the question, will you be having vendors?
Why?
So-
Yeah, we didn't know about that. So you have to go to Google first to get to the
So if you type in
website?
your address on Google
Yeah.
and you scroll down, that page is still there. Your homepage, your web developer took the homepage down, but they didn't take the rest of the website down. And the
No.
other websites get cataloged onto Google.
He
and they're searchable.
completely took down the entire website. I know that for a fact, because I can't even search it.
So,
Unless it's showing up on another, I mean, I'm not an IT person, I don't know how this works, but is it,
Because
what are you
maybe-
using, like Chrome or something? I don't know.
No,
Like,
just
is it-
Safari, and I'm on the website, Royal Pine Estate.
Yeah,
Well,
Well,
that's not
yeah.
supposed to be there, so I'm
and I
not
can
sure.
show you proof. I have proof that my IT person took it down.
Because if you go to the Wild Pine Estate website, you don't see it, right? So it must be some kind of, I mean,
He's
Google.
still seeing it. That's the problem. He's still seeing it.
I know, so we're gonna have to talk to the guy that did the website to remove it further, remove it
So
further.
it's just so royalpineestate.com is taken down, royalpineestate.com/pricing is not taken down.
Oh.
Oh.
So
why?
the subpages are not taken down. And it just
It's
it's
an
just
error.
concerning to see, some of that stuff is still up and it's
That's an error, and I'm saying this on record with all honesty. I wouldn't sit up here and lie. That is an error. I have my phone. If you would like, I can go and get the emails. I can even call my IT person.
well, I mean,
it's okay.
I just,
There's things that like are weird on the internet. Like you can take down a review and you'll find it on like another page. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how this works, but you all know what I mean. Like
Okay.
sometimes you take it down and maybe it's not all the way
Anyway,
down.
we're getting 0 booking from our website. 0, it's all Airbnb.
Yeah.
But we don't have a problem to remove it completely. We just need someone that knows how to do
We
that.
already did.
Well, I mean, it's already down, but some pages are still showing. But you
I'll
see,
send
you
that
see
to you.
it.
I'll send it to
just
Michael and
the
Molly
main
because I
website
have
is gone.
their emails. Because I don't want to be called a liar, so I'll send it to them.
yes, it's still searchable by on Google that it comes up. I didn't do the address, I did Royal Pine Estate, and I get the same thing. One comes up with just a main website where it just shows nothing, but you can bring up through the next one, which is the pricing, and then you can go to the homepage. It brings up the entire website.
Oh.
So it is still showing active on there.
Yeah.
Well, we
whole
can
thing.
take this down. for
And
sure,
also,
Mr. Barr.
there's no action coming from it,
Yeah.
so I guess
Okay.
that's something.
So I'll jump in here a little bit and just say, just another little reminder that we are here under 138-241, criteria A through F is the only thing before this board. And I realize that some of this there's a global look at this property, I understand that, but as far as whatever motions are made in whatever direction, those are the criteria to which the board is confined.
Yeah, okay.
On pages 2 and 3 of the staff
I
report.
was just going to say, your criteria are listed on page 2 and 3 under criteria for granting a type 2 use. So any motions that are made should address at least some of these criteria. Thank you very much. At this point, I'm going to close the hearing and open you can sit down.
All right.
And just open the board for discussion and comments.
Staff question on criteria for granting type 2 use B. There's adequate separation of the proposed use and related structures. Is there a definition for adequate separation, or is it subjective?
That is subjective, and just to understand, we know that since this came in through code enforcement, that they were not compliant with these criteria. That's why we have all these specific conditions where they would have to come into compliance with the criteria.
And the reason it's like that is so many different properties are applied under these same criteria. So there's no way to adequate changes based on where things are and arranged. You have to look at it kind of where the weight falls on the shoulders of the board to weigh these criteria and decide how it applies to this particular application.
Yeah, following up on Jason's comment, I mean, honestly, I think staff blew it on that one, because there are two clearly close adjacent structures. And this differs from the horse farm issue that we had because that was like 8 acres, and the nearest house was hundreds of feet away. Here, you're talking about the nearest house being, 15, 20 feet away. It's adequate separation, in my mind, is really a big issue here. I just, I think to myself that if I lived on a street and somebody next door to me was having a half a dozen weddings a year, I'd get pretty old pretty quick. So I don't know. It's tough.
Also another, for criteria, part C, adequate drives, walkways, and parking are available. I also tend to agree, I think the staff relied heavily on the applicant's
On this.
drawing, and having built a lot of commercial properties and stuff like that, and 25 parking spaces will at least eat up close to a quarter of an acre with driveways and everything else, intertwined. So I would challenge the staff, the staff response as far as adequate driveways being provided for the amount of vehicles that would be required to put on an event of this size.
Yeah, another question for staff in regard to the buffering, it mentions planting of bamboo along the property line. I know certain species of bamboo are listed as invasive. I don't know if, you went into detail on that. I know a lot of communities don't even allow any bamboo because it spreads. So, I'm not sure if that was looked at or if that will be a site plan issue and that possibly needs to be removed. But
That would have to be looked at as site plan, and that would be looked at by our environmental staff.
okay.
And if it was invasives on the property, they would be required to remove them and then plant appropriate vegetation.
Any other comments from board members? Anybody care to make a motion?
I make a motion to deny based on not meeting the criteria of type 2 use for section A, not meeting criteria for section B, and also not meeting the criteria for section C.
So to clarify, your motion is that it fails to meet the criteria of 138-241 A, B, and C?
Correct.
And then I'll move to amend to add for B, part of the reasoning behind it was the correspondence from code enforcement, and for C, that was based on resident testimony and board member observation.
Is that acceptable, that amendment?
Absolutely.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor for the motion to deny?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed to that? It's unanimous denial. Sorry, did not get your your type 2, rather. I know you think we're done, but we're not. Mr. Schoederback, you want to call the next case?
Yep, 1 second, let me shuffle the tape.
This would be case number VAR 2505. I'll get you started.
Thank you. Yes, our next case is VAR-25-05. This is a request for a variance to allow a 1,512 square foot, 2-story detached garage having a 3-foot side setback from the northern property line, where 6 feet is required in the R3 single-family residential zoning district for the property located at 1353 Hamlin Drive in unincorporated Clearwater. Staff's recommendation is denial. Staff cannot support this request as we feel it does not meet the criteria for granting a variance found in section 138-231 of the Pinellas County Land Development Code as described below. In essence, there are no special conditions or necessary hardship. The request does not meet the minimum variance necessary, and it is inconsistent with the Land Development Code. So the subject property is 95 feet wide by approximately 119 foot depth. Size is about 11,372 square feet. Residential lot fronting Hamlin Drive. For reference, the R3 zoning district, the minimum lot size is 6,000 square feet with a 60-foot lot width. Site's developed with a single-family home, outdoor pavilion, detached shed, and in-ground pool. The requirements established in the Land Development Code are designed to guarantee that the construction of residential accessory structures adheres to the minimum setback criteria and other relevant standards of the underlying zoning district. We feel the proposed garage addition could be redesigned to be compliant with the required 6-foot side yard setback. Again, I'll go into our criteria for denial under special conditions. The property is developed with a single-family lot that meets the minimum development standards of the R3 zoning district. It's actually larger than minimum district requirements. We find that there's no special circumstances that are peculiar to the land, structure, or building involved. For unnecessary hardship, the subject property, again, has a conforming single-family home on site that meets setbacks. It's the same as the other nearby residential properties. So there's nothing on this property that makes it difficult to achieve the same proportion of development as the surrounding area. The subject property exceeds the minimum lot size requirements of the R3 zoning district. Again, so a larger lot, they could add an addition that could be redesigned to meet the required setbacks. Consistency with the code, we find that it's inconsistent with section 138-3510, which states that accessory residential structures must meet the setback requirements of the underlying zoning district. Consideration of rezoning, this is, it's in an established R3 zone residential area. Rezoning would not achieve anything. Most of the other single-family residential zoning districts also require a 6-foot side setback. And we also find it's inconsistent with the comprehensive plan, particularly land use element policy 1.2. Utilize the Land Development Code to regulate the use, intensity, and design of redevelopment in a manner consistent with future land use categories. We don't find that it's a detriment to the public welfare, and they're not trying to circumvent any prior board approval. And again, staff recommends denial.
Thank you. Would the applicant please come forward? And I will disclose that I did visit this site also.
Good morning.
Morning.
Lauren Rubenstein here on behalf of the applicant. I'm attorney with Hillward Henderson. Our address is 600 Cleveland Street, Suite 800, and I have been sworn. And I have provided copies of the PowerPoint presentation as well as 17 letters of support that were gathered from the surrounding neighbors. And I was just engaged last week on this, so I apologize that we didn't have it the 7 days in advance to include in your packet, but we'll go old school and do it via the projector. If I could, I did provide a copy to the clerk, but it's a larger presentation than the one in my book, so I think it'll show up better on the overhead. So just a little bit of background on the site. The lot is zoned, as you heard, R3, single family, designated future land use as residential low. The existing home was built in 1962. There is an existing in-ground pool that was built, I want to say sometime in the 90s. I know it was long before my clients purchased the property in 2008. As they have been there quite a while, their family has grown, and they now have 4 drivers with 2 adult children in the home. No, not, I guess they call adult, 18 and 21. And in addition, as you'll hear from my client, his hobby is classic cars. So he owns a classic car and was just recently gifted another classic car from his father, and he can share more of those details. So in order to free up some space and accommodate the 4 daily drivers that they have, they're proposing the proposed detached garage in the northeast corner of the property. So as we've gone over, staff presented that the variance is to allow for a detached garage having a 3-foot setback from the northern property line, where a 6-foot setback is usually required. This garage would have electricity. There would be no plumbing. There would be no habitable space. I know it's 1,500 and some square feet. That sounds rather large for a garage. However, I will say that the first floor is about 1,160. And then there is a second floor loft area. The entire structure, we'll show you an elevation, is not proposed to have a second floor that goes all the way across. Here is the subject lot, and I know the chair mentioned he had been out there. I don't know if anyone else had. Here is the existing site survey. As you can see, the single-family home is located on the lot with the southeast corner containing the pool and the patio structure. So the only place that could be developed with this detached garage is in that northeast corner over here. So here's the proposed site plan that was submitted and is in your packet. As we mentioned, it really would be used for storing and working on these classic cars. So there would be designated access from the private driveway, not from the right-of-way, go through the gates, through the side yard, but the classic cars would not be something that would be routinely coming in and out. I believe my client said they go to maybe 5 shows a year, take it out. So it would really be on the rare occasion that anything would be traversing through the yard towards the back. Here's the proposed elevation. This is, I'd like to say, if you're standing in the backyard looking towards the front yard, this is really like the back of the garage that you're seeing. But I think it's helpful to see because on the right-hand side, this is the northern property line where the setback would be from. So again, it's important, there's not going to be a wall that's 2 feet high, 3 feet from the setback, right? So it is 1 story for the most part. This second floor loft area is the only area that goes higher. There's no windows proposed to overlook, the neighbors, and there was support by all the surrounding property owners that are adjacent to or would be really in visual, where they could visually see it. I would also note the maximum height proposed, the maximum height allowed by code is 35 feet in the zoning district. What's proposed is 24 feet 8 inches. This is a sample floor plan, again, really just to show this area is the first floor garage where those two classic cars could go in, and it would give them enough room to work on the car. The second floor loft area is right here, and on this side is where the stairwell would be to get up to it. Again, not habitable space, no plumbing, just electric. So looking at the variance criteria, special conditions and circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land, structure, or building involved. So if you look at the survey, the northern lot line is slightly angled from the right-of-way to the back corner. Now, I don't want to represent that that makes it where we would be compliant on one side and not the other. It's not that extreme, but certainly for the 3 feet that we're asking, that's the closest portion and why the 3 feet is required instead of a lesser amount.
What would the widest amount be of the
We do have our
adjacency?
contractor here. It wasn't noted on the site plan. I don't know if he could shed light on exactly how much. Yes, you have.
Sure.
This is the,
didn't get the question, I'm
So the lot line is at an angle, so the closest part of the garage to the lot line is 3 feet.
3
but
feet,
Because
that's-
it's angled, what
Right.
would the widest part of the structure, the distance from the lot line for,
It will
at
be
the
three,
widest
it will
point?
be 3 feet at the,
At the closest.
the closest, you know, at
Mr.
the
Chair, I
back
hate
of
to
the,
interrupt. Do we get the name and address of this gentleman?
at the corner of the garage to the property line, that closest area will be
apologize.
3 feet.
Could you give us your name and address?
your name
Oh,
and address.
my name is Robert Privat, and my company name is Bob Privat LLC, and my license number is CRCO 17365.
Okay. Your address?
9444 Janice Lane,
Okay.
Largo, Florida.
And he was sworn in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Was there an answer to my question, or we don't
Yeah,
really
Do
have
you
it?
know how, on the wider side, how, would it be another 6 inches?
Oh,
or-
on the, towards the front.
Right,
Yeah,
yes,
about
right.
probably 6 inches. If you look at the plan, there's only a foot difference from the front corner of the garage, from the front corner of the house.
Yeah.
There's a foot from there to the back of the house is only a foot difference. So it's
Okay.
just gonna be very, 6
Okay.
inches.
It's kind of de minimis, but okay. I just wanted to get a clarification.
Sure, absolutely.
Am I done?
Thank you, yes, yes. Due to the existing layout of the house on the lot as well, as we mentioned, the only really area that you could develop a detached garage would be in that northeast corner. The fire code, the building code does require a 3-foot separation between the dwelling and the detached garage for fire safety. And in order to maneuver the classic car and have room, these aren't cars of today. They're not a smaller car. They're 2 doors, wide doors that have to come all the way open. So in order to maneuver it in, working with the contractor, my client came to the realization that if it's less than 14.6 inches wide, with the garage door there, he's really not going to be able to utilize it and maneuver the car in and be able to open it and work on it.
But that's
take doors
his
off.
hardship. The hardship, as the code defines it, has to deal with the uniqueness of the property. So the fact that he wants to be able to open both doors of a car is not our problem. That's,
Right, well, there's special circumstances relating to the building or structure involved. I do believe that that goes to what the use of the structure is going to be for utilizing those cars.
Okay.
As the unnecessary hardship, the literal interpretation of the provision of the code would deprive or make it practically difficult for the applicant to receive the same proportion of development potentially commonly enjoyed on other properties or in the same zoning district. So the Plumbers, as I said, have lived here since 2008, and the pool and the home were already constructed when they bought their property. Their proposed attached garage is a permitted accessory residential use under the code. And I would mention that under the Pinellas County Code, it requires in residential areas for vehicles to be parked in a driveway, carport, or in a garage. And as we discussed, with 4 daily drivers in the home, in addition to these 2 classic cars, this proposed detached garage would certainly help free up space. It would prevent some cluttering of cars in the right-of-way and in that driveway. Aesthetically, it would definitely be better for the neighbors, which is why I think we've seen lots of support from the neighbors on this. The minimum code deviation necessary, again, because of the 3-foot separation required, and that's all that's being proposed here is 3 feet from the house to the wall of the detached garage. It can't be moved any closer without it significantly changing what is being proposed. There's also mechanical equipment alongside the home there, some AC and other things that would prevent it from being attached at that area. Again, we discussed the maneuverability of that classic car into the detached garage, which is one of the reasons they need it to be at least 14.5 feet wide, which brings us to the requested variance of 3 feet. Consistency with the land development code. I would submit that this is consistent with the land development code. We're here under section 138-231, which allows variances to things like setbacks. And if you find the criteria is met, we're not asking for any type of use or intensity or density that is not otherwise allowed under the code. The consideration of rezoning, staff covered that. We agree it wouldn't be appropriate, and nor would it relieve the need for a variance in this instance. And consistency of the comprehensive plan. We do believe this is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The future land use is residential low. Again, this is a use that's permitted in the zoning district. It's a residential use. The code does allow, your land development code does allow variances. Future land use objective 1.2, maintain a land development code that responds to the unique challenges of infill and redevelopment within unincorporated Pinellas County. Again, we're here under that section 138-231 to allow for variances when criteria are met. It is not injurious to the area involved. All the adjacent property owners have actually voiced letters of support, anyone that is really in visual distance of this property, and the granting of the request does not circumvent board approval. Now, it was brought to our attention when we came on board that there had been objections received by the county. I have a map here. In red is the subject property, and in black are the 4 properties that had filed objections. I will say that we reached out to each one of these objectors in an effort to meet with them and talk to them about their concerns. We did not hear back from any of them. It does not appear that any of them are here today. But one of the things that they discussed were their concerns about it being out of scale with the surrounding homes and the aesthetic impact. To that I would say, again, we're not asking for a height variance. We're not asking to build something that would not blend with the neighborhood. This is not a steel building that's being proposed. It's a garage frame construction to match the aesthetics of the home. So it certainly would not be injurious in any way to the neighborhood from an aesthetic perspective. There's also numerous trees in that area, none of which would be impacted, none of which would be removed, and essentially shield the structure from even being visible, we believe, from the front. They were also concerned with potential increased traffic and use beyond storage. Ironically, I believe this will actually improve the right-of-way situation with allowing those classic cars to be relocated to the back and free up that driveway space and the attached garage. It would not be a commercial use. My client will testify and explain what he plans to use it for in any more detail that you need, but it would not be a commercial use, and he will not be converting this into a residential accessory dwelling. That seemed to be a very big concern of the neighbors. That was one of their main asks, that there were conditions, if it was approved, not to be converted to that. And my client would be willing to sign a non-conversion agreement if the board felt that was what was appropriate. This is going to be a garage for his, hobby. Finally, there were privacy and lighting concerns that were raised, which honestly, I think that elevation helps eliminate a lot of those concerns. It's not a gigantic 2-story structure looming over the neighbors. It's thoughtfully designed, no windows, and again, all of the neighbors surrounding the property have voiced their support. So this is the map that shows the neighborhood support. Everyone in green has signed a letter of support, and that's been provided to you today. My clients had a lot of conversations with their neighbors, even before and during this process, and then certainly once we realized there was some objections and where those were, we wanted to make sure that everybody understood what the project was and understood and whether or not they supported it. And so, as you can see, they're surrounded by support. Here's a view of the front of the house for those of you that didn't go there. You can see the trees that are there. One of the objections said they thought that the property had already had this developed without a permit, and they were concerned about that. I think they were obviously they didn't understand it hasn't been constructed. I think they were thinking it's this pavilion that's over the pool and patio that was permitted and constructed a couple years ago under Pinellas County's code. So I think that's probably what they were seeing, and that really is going to be much more visible than what they're proposing in the backyard. So with that, I thank you all for your time. I do have my client here. He'd like to say just a few words about what he intends to use the property for, the garage, and why he needs it in the format that he does.
Lauren, before you sit down.
Yes.
The garage, as proposed, is detached from the house by what it looks like about a similar dimension to the offset from the lot line, about 3 feet. Why don't you just build the garage attached to the house
So,
and solve this whole problem?
right, so there's a bunch of, that's where the electric comes in, the pool equipment, the AC, so it'd be very difficult to relocate all of that and build it, and then of course there'd be firewall separation and parapet, and it really changes the project substantially.
Good morning. I'm Eric Plummer, 1353 Hamlin Drive. My wife is also here. And I would like to describe what we're trying to do and some of the thought process behind it. It is a hobby garage. I own a small business, and the way that I take my time off is I work on cars. I have a 1957 Chevy that I bought in 2005. It took me about 11 years to restore that, in time permitting. Certainly not a commercial endeavor. I could never make a profit taking 11 years to work on a car. I still own that car. I intend to keep that car. I have no intention of selling it. When I was very young, I don't know the exact age, but probably 5 or 6 years old, my father purchased a 1960 Corvette that was basically dismantled. And he had always intended to rebuild that car, and he wanted to see it going and had all kinds of ideas, drawings, pictures, things like that, all of his things. And a couple of years ago, he's 83 now, he realized he probably is not going to get that done. So on Father's Day, he called me over. I thought he was dying, but he called me over and said, hey, I need to talk to you about something really important. And we're sitting there, and he kind of goes into it, and he says, I want you to get that car done. It's been a couple years now, working, trying to make plans, things like that, trying to figure out what we could do to actually do the car. This seems to be our option, is to utilize this garage to do that. Renting a shop or facility would be unobtainable to do so, and so we felt that we'd build this, we'd have some extra storage for the stuff in our house maybe, but then it's really about just how I use my spare time. And when we talk about the loft area, one of the things I don't commonly go around the town and tell everybody that I do, I actually sew. I have a very pricey sewing machine, and it's one of my other little hobbies. I intend to do the upholstery for this vehicle. That's kind of what's going to happen in the second floor area. I've done, repaired seats for my RV, things like that over the years. So we thought that we'd use that, and that would be kind of the complementary storage. But when you think about the shape of this building and why we couldn't maybe consider like an 8-foot, which might be a standard garage door opening, I don't know if you've all ever seen the process of a car being restored, but typically the body is off the frame and you're rolling things around and you're taking parts off. It is near to impossible to do that in a car designed for garage for just your driving cars, not for your working on. You can't do that in that kind of space. So we try to be very thoughtful about this and consider what we needed to do this process and build just that. And this is what we came up with. So that is the intended use. I don't have any other ideas for it. We've lived in this house a long time. The pool was actually built in '67, if that matters. So, we bought the house with that in the process, and we're just, I think the budgetary consideration, like I heard about, well, can't we just attach it to the house? That would, our electric service comes in right at that wall, and the pool equipment's there, the solar panels, all the inverters. that would be substantial expense that I couldn't probably bear. So that's the use of it, and I don't have any other things to say unless you have questions.
I have a question for you. Based on this drawing, is the north property owner on the side that's lowest? Is that the north property owner?
Yes, he's going to be at the low point of the garage, and I joke and say that guy's will probably come over and ask to use the garage too because he's restoring a truck. So, you know, in fact, there's a lot of people in my neighborhood that have classic cars. If you go around the neighborhood, there's a gentleman who is on Stansel that probably has 11 or 12 classic cars. There's a gentleman down the street, 3 houses down, that also has a 57 Chevy. So this is not an uncommon sight in this neighborhood.
My question that I was going to say is, the way it's, you're talking 3 feet from the fence line, roughly, right?
Right.
In our shed code, one of the parts of the shed code is you have to have the roof so that the water runoff doesn't go on the neighbor's property for flooding purposes. So my recommendation to you is, and I'm not a builder, but I guess he's sitting right there. You're this far off the property line from that guy. The roof line of this building is way bigger than a normal shed. This isn't a shed, and I get it, but what I'm trying to tell you, kind of like if you build this and you get approved for it, you need to make sure you have some sort of apparatus to keep, because we're the ones that are going to get the call, oh my God, my backyard's flooding because this guy's roof is, you know, so just keep that in mind.
I appreciate that. To address that, we have gutters in our home, and we could put gutters and redirect the water flow back to our own property. And on our street in particular, we're at a very high point, so we don't really experience flooding problems in our street. We're at the highest point in the neighborhood, I believe. We just don't have flooding, even after hurricanes and things like that. That's not our issue. The wind damage is what caused the problem in our neighborhood. Okay, thanks.
If there's no further questions, I just thank you all for your time. I believe we have submitted competent, substantial evidence on which you could rely in order to grant the variance, and we would respectfully request approval. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Could your client live with less than a 14-foot 6-inch dimension on the garage? I mean,
I will let him address that. I've of course asked that of him as well, and that's where I, proffered that because of the maneuverability.
I get that that's what you would like to have, but, quite honestly, it's really jamming the property up, and it's not so much a question of the neighbor doesn't object. It's a question of we create a precedent here that, the next guy comes in and wants to build something 3 feet off his lot line, and we say, well, you're not allowed. And they go, well, you did it there. And so we have to defend our actions, for a long time. In my case, too long a time. But, if it were 5 feet off the lot line and you're only looking for 1 foot variance, it's one thing. But yeah, you're looking for 50% reduction of the setback. It's a lot. If you can live with less, it makes our job easier. I don't know, staff still doesn't like it, but that's my question.
Yeah. It's kind of, I'm not a builder, so that's why we asked for somebody else to draw it. I request the space I did because I was trying to anticipate moving around the vehicle and things like that in support of it. And I think that some of the building aspects, like the garage door, are designed to be standard opening sizes instead of doing custom things. I don't know how badly it would impact me to go to, only 1 foot into there versus 2 foot versus the 3 foot we requested. I don't really have an answer to that. If anybody's ever worked on something and been crammed, it's hard. And maybe even safety-wise, if I can't get a lift in the proper place to push an engine into it or something like that. I honestly don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in making this work, and if it means something like that, I guess we would consider how to do it and think it through. But
the reality is, once you get a car in there, when you get to where you can turn the corner and go in the back, you can have a lot more space to work. Your working space is then enhanced. You don't have that dimension restriction on the back side.
So to clarify that, part of the goal is to get the cars rearranged on the property in general. Take the 57 that's sitting in my 2-car garage right now and put it into that space that you see, that's the around the corner space. And then that front to back piece is where the Corvette will go in, and then the body will come off, and it'll be like stacked in there. So that's kind of the thought process behind that, is how we would utilize it and to have the space to be able to work around that vehicle.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? I'm sorry. Questions of the applicant? Are there any objectors here for this case? No objectors, okay, just clarifying. Questions for the applicant from the board? No questions. Okay, we have a motion, we have a recommendation for denial from the staff. Would a board member care to make a motion in this case?
I will. Based on also to kind of further what you said, Chair, earlier on, the application doesn't necessarily meet the criteria of establishing a hardship for the applicant. It does not apply to the area that's, the zoning that's consistent to the area. The main criteria being that it does not have the hardship is not restricted to the process, or sorry, the
Property.
The property. My other concern is for the drainage, as the codes gentleman brought up earlier. So with that, I recommend a motion to denial.
Got a staff question. So earlier we brought up denial with prejudice and denial without. I think there was a standard. Is it automatically denied with prejudice, or is it not? In other words, can they bring it back with alterations in the future?
So the only way to bring some alterations before the board without, there's a motion for denial on the table, it hasn't been seconded yet. If it is voted on, it's just voted up or down. There's no without prejudice.
Okay.
If they ask for continuance, the board could consider that. And then that's how they would come back to a date certain before this board. But if it's voted on, it's voted on. And it would be at least 6 months before they could apply for another variance.
Okay, there have been, I apologize, we have a motion hanging without a second here. I'll get to that in a second. But we have, in the past, moved to amend the process. So in this instance, for example, we deny the application for a 3-foot setback, but would approve a 5-foot setback. Is that something you can live with, or you're not happy?
Well, and you had that dialogue with the applicant. What I heard is that the applicant couldn't give you an answer because he didn't have the technical capability to give you the answer.
Right.
And so if you had someone say, well, sure, I'm fine with doing a 1-foot, then you could have done that and made that condition to an approval. But they couldn't. What I heard, and again, I want to be careful and stay in my lane, is that he couldn't answer your question because he didn't have the technical ability to get that answer from his specialist, who's not here to speak.
Okay.
And so we don't have the person who drew up his plans to talk about what'll fit where and what. That's where a continuance sometimes comes in.
Yeah. We have a motion for denial. Is there a second for that motion?
A second.
We have a second to the motion to deny. All right, this is not good protocol, but come on back up.
I know, I apologize. My client was talking to his contractor, and they thought if it was only a 2-foot variance instead of a 3-foot variance, they could still fit the 9-foot door, and so they would be amenable to that request if it was.
Which would mean a 2-foot variance from the required 6 feet.
Right.
So you would be 4 foot off the lot line.
Setback.
Okay. Back to business. We had a motion and a second to deny. We've had further comment from the applicant that they could live with a 4-foot setback. Does that change your thought process at all, or are we going to vote on this motion?
So the protocol would be, if he thought that that would change his opinion, he would withdraw his motion
Okay?
for denial.
So earlier, maybe this is getting too into the weeds, but earlier we talked about we don't want to set a precedent for too much of a setback. Is there like, I know these are public records, but are there like somebody going to look it up and, there's like a common knowledge of what the setback is and
Yeah,
The precedent would be set
the
then.
precedent would be set, right? So that would.
We get it all the time with
Okay.
the applicants come here and say, would show us a map,
They
and
would
they'll
show
show
you the
5
other
houses
ones
on a
with the
block where we
setbacks.
previously agreed at setbacks. That's attorneys do that constantly here, so we see that frequently. It does, the precedent issue is a real issue.
That being said, my motion remains.
Second remains?
A second. And just to add to that comment is when you brought up the fact that we do it for this one, then the next one says they want to do something grander than that, and then the next person says, okay, well, that's grand, but I want to do something. We have to get to some point, right?
I mean, if you allow a 3-foot setback in this situation on this block, everybody on this block could come in and request it, and it would be hard for us to deny it. Doesn't apply to another neighborhood necessarily, but within that neighborhood. Okay, we have a motion for denial and a second. Is there further discussion? All in favor of the motion to deny, please signal the aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have 5 to deny, nay. I'm nay, you're nay. Okay, so the motion is denied by a vote of 5 to 2. You can reapply in 6 months?
You mean the application is denied, not the
I'm
motion?
sorry, the application is
Right, yeah,
denied
okay. I wanna clarify.
by a vote of 5 to 2. The applicant could come back in 6 months, is that what?
Right, under our quasi judicial ordinance, it's a 6-month, if there's a denial, it's a 6-month.
Okay. All righty. With that, do we have minutes from the previous, did we get minutes?
One other item too to cover.
One more item,
Yeah.
because it's only 11:12.
We have the attorney to.
Yeah, you get to hear my voice again, and everyone loves it.
I have an old expression when we get cases like this, just because you have land doesn't mean you have an entitlement to fill the land. It's the old 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound sack, and we see that a lot. I mean,
Right.
at some point, it's too much.
Right.
If you really need that much, then you need a bigger lot.
Right. So I'm not going to do the sunshine law presentation today. We did that a few weeks ago. And for the newer members, you've had that orientation. You've all received this PowerPoint at one point or another over the last year or two. So I will make this as painless as possible and try to just do a high altitude run here. Let's see how I do. Board of Adjustment has the authority to make binding final decisions. And that is important. This is a final decision board, which is why some of these hearings today were tough. You're making the final call regarding the following in unincorporated areas of Pinellas County. Variances, type 2 uses, which in most places are called special exceptions. Administrative appeals, that's where it would go to the BDRS director. He would make a determination, he'd make of what the code says, and you would, if someone didn't like that, they could appeal it to you, and you can determine whether or not, that was appropriate. And then non-conforming use modifications is something pretty unique to Pinellas County. If you have a use that is non-conforming with the existing zoning, in most places you can't modify a non-conforming use. Pinellas County actually allows some flex and allows this board to determine if a non-conforming use can be modified and still be labeled a non-conforming use and remain in the zoning category and operable. So those are the 4 main functions of the board. We just went through the entire criteria of variances. I'm not going to drag you through that again now after you just studied them. So these cases today were a pretty good overview of both type 2 and variances. They do run with the land, so once you grant one, it doesn't, if they sell the land, it's still with the land, subject to that criteria. And like I said, you've been through it. You just went through all of these, so I'm not going to run you through them, but the big deal with them is hardship often is the biggest one that came up today. And you do kind of look at the neighborhood and the situation of similarly situated owners, and if they don't have a geographic, if it's not an odd-shaped lot, things like that, if I'm going to come into play, then oftentimes that is a determinative factor. Again, more, and it's in the handout, but what's specific to the land, not specific to the owner, unique to the property, and it can't be a self-created hardship.
That self-created one is actually more common than you think. People place a pool on their lot where they want to have it, and then it creates a hardship for the shed that they want to put next to it because they can't because the pool, well, you built the pool, you created the situation.
Stacking the lot.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So, yeah, you can't, it's got to be something that's it's a peculiarity to the property is typically the way I try to explain it. Type 2 use, which again is kind of another name for a special exception, is a use that's generally authorized by the code subject to this board's review and approval to ensure it is appropriate on a particular lot, because a lot of what you do here is specific to particular properties. That's why I said earlier during one of the hearings, I can't really give you a perfect answer to some of the questions because some of the weight eventually does fall on the board's shoulders to determine whether, okay, with this specific property, do we give this relief or not? And here's the consistency. Here's the general criteria. You went through these again on another pretty thick case today, so I won't go through them now because you got to study them. So that's what you're going to see those over and over again.
Daryl, the one on here that is a little bit problematic for us is the no drainage problems created. That really is addressed at site plan review, and staff has to deal with that. We're not professionals to determine whether there's because it's a constant thing with neighbors coming in saying, if you allow this, my yard's going to flood. It's flooded before. We're not in a position to be able to make that call.
Right.
But we rely on staff that will be addressed.
A lot of times, type 2 uses, before they come to you, they've come into us for an early assistance meeting where our engineering staff has looked at their concept plan, and if they see that it can be, if this was done, they can go through and meet the Pinellas County stormwater criteria. But if they do address something that, you're in a major flood hazard area and you're going to have to bring in a bunch of fill, if they address something like that, we will bring that up, bring it to the board.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. And, these things can be conditioned if they want to write, have additional conditions imposed to try to say you have a negative staff report, and then we just saw some of that happen here, and it didn't happen with the variance, but they moved a foot. It didn't really move the board, but you can have reductions in the request or other conditions imposed to meet the board's comfort level with the criteria. They still have to be related to the criteria, the conditions, but if they do adjust the board's comfort level, then that's appropriate.
And is that, if there are conditions set, are those a deeded restriction?
Well, they would be of record, so they wouldn't be recorded, but they would be of record, so that anyone that tried to pull a building permit in the future, they would immediately pop up. So it would run with the land in the sense that anything else that anyone ever tried to ask for, that would immediately be shown in the county's records. And staff can, attest to the specific procedures, can speak more clearly to that, but that's always been my understanding, that it's like a flag that pops up. The staff's going to see that.
Sure. Yeah, it's in there, and ones that are approved, like their concept plan, everything, those are stamped on it, per conditions approved by the board, with the case number, and so we have that record on there. The applicant has the record. When they get approval, they get a copy of the stamps, they get a copy of the letter, and anything they submit, they need to include that with it to make sure that they're meeting those conditions. So.
Yeah, so, and I'm not, this applicant LCD by the DRC, that's not something that this board needs to be concerned with. Basically, an appeal from this board would go to circuit court. So any decision you make, it doesn't go to the Board of County Commissioners. It goes to circuit court on what's called a petition for writ of certiorari. And there's 3 prongs. Procedural due process, you have to meet procedural due process. You have to follow the essential requirements of law. And the one that I harp on the most is the decision has to be based on competent substantial evidence, which is why I read that statement at the beginning of every meeting. And so, anyway, just to let you know, if it leaves here and there's a decision, that's why I tend to try to ask for a little bit more detail in the motions for, especially when it's a motion for denial and you might have a represented applicant who's going to appeal to court. That gives me more to work with to say, hey, this was based on, that your motion, the denial was based on these prongs, excuse me, the code. That does help. So that's why I do push that. Again, non-conforming use criteria, that's something, I won't roll through all of those. Those are ones that you can look at. If anyone has any questions, you can always call me individually and talk about them, but I'm not going to run through those here. Quasi-judicial decision-making, again, all the criteria I just mentioned have to be met, common substantial evidence. Ex parte restrictions, that's part of the emails that went out prior to this meeting. If you're going on a site visit, or if you get a phone call, you can't, please don't talk to anybody, because it gets very complicated on trying to correct the record, and because you're basically, by accident, having a meeting off-site. So just, you can politely say, I'm a member of the board, you might be somebody who shows up or otherwise contributes in writing to the record, and I just need to observe the property, and you're always welcome to come to the meeting and discuss it there. I always try to say, and I think some of you have heard this, try to keep it between the gavels. If you're going to be talking, and this is kind of bleeds into the sunshine law part. Nothing. I know y'all know better, but nothing on social media, nothing on no chatter back and forth anywhere. It causes trouble for the members. It causes trouble for everybody. Keep it between the gavels. Keep it during the hearing on the case, and you're good. That's the safest place to be. And then we'll just sit here and run through the cases for as long as it takes. Again, it's already discusses due process here. Witnesses have to be sworn. I'm glad that, for example, Ms. Rubenstein did have the individual come up and talk about the setbacks, because where I do get a little uncomfortable with attorneys sometimes is they'll start to testify. And attorneys are only supposed to speak to what is already of record. They bring in new information, then they're supposed to have a third party sworn to come in and testify to that. And they can ask them questions and dialogue with them, but they're not supposed to, attorneys are not supposed to testify. And so I was sort of leaning towards my microphone, and then she brought the gentleman up, and I leaned back. But that is definitely something to keep an eye out for. Again, these are criteria for what can help you determine what is competent substantial evidence. I'm not going to roll through each one of them. But basically, the big one is if it sounds speculative, if it's fear-based, if this is going to change our whole world, and they can't say why, and they don't have any data. If it's anxiety, which I understand, people want to protect their neighborhoods, all that. I've gone through it myself. But you've got to bring something before the board that is fact-based, that is non-speculative. And that's kind of the easiest way to think about it, not get caught in the weeds. It's really got to address the criteria, and it's got to, of the section that's at play, and it can't just be speculative. Hey, this is going to ruin our lives. Well, I understand that, and there's empathy, but they have to show why. Show us some data from a legitimate source. Again, findings of fact are important. That's why I said with the motions. And again, you could really link it out and say, well, I speaking to Mr. So-and-so's testimony on traffic or parking or whatever. The longer the motion, the better. I realize that's difficult in the moment. I've served on boards as well as being an attorney in one, and it's particularly difficult to create a motion. But don't feel withdrawn or shy about making your motion lengthy and saying, you know, I heard what so-and-so said, I heard so-and-so, that really, I find that to be competent substantial evidence. You can take time with it. It doesn't have to be Churchill level eloquence, you know, you're not gonna get that from me. It just needs to be on the record. And so that helps with these things, but definitely at least get to the prongs of the code section. We've already talked, voting conflicts actually came up today. If you have a special private gain or loss that might be, or any relative of yours or company of yours where more than the average person, where your company can make or lose money, or your person or relatives could make or lose money, typically financial, unless it's like a next door neighbor property or something, then that you need to disclose that and recuse yourself, and we can help you with how to report that. And sunshine law we've gone over.
Daryl?
Yes.
If you're a member or a regular attendee of a church and that church is appearing before us for a variance, do you have a conflict?
That can be.
If I'm a member of the YMCA and the YMCA comes in here needing something, do I have a conflict?
I think that would go to the non-financial portion of a special. Yes, that would affect you more than it would the average person. So I would, these things do get blurry on the edges.
Yeah.
But when it's blurry, I would ask that someone, if you feel, the thing is, if your gut's uncomfortable, you're probably needing to recuse yourself, right? So if you feel like you can't be non-biased in your weighing of the evidence, then I would ask that you recuse yourself.
Okay.
So that's kind of where that falls. There's an internal bias you just can't help there if you're a member of a congregation and sitting there, you know. Financial disclosures, those are filed by state law. Many of you went through that when you joined the board. And there is a commission on ethics. There is an ethics hotline that if you have a question, either you can call it or our office you can ask us, hey, I've got this question about my relationship with a church or anything like that. And we can call the ethics hotline for you if it's not something we can answer directly. We've got a whole bunch of materials on ethics in our office as well. If it's a really unique fact pattern, we can call the ethics hotline, and that gives you some cover. So the state offers that for free, and they're actually quite good. So let's see if there's anything else. Nope. So that covers it. Again, if you have unique questions that you'd like to, you're driving home today, you're like, I wish you talked about that, call me. And I'm happy to talk to you for as long as you need me to. I'm in that office, and sometimes it's nice to get a call on something that's not the thing I'm working on. We deal with some pretty dry stuff. So if you want to call me, give me a call, and I'll welcome the chance.
Thank you. Is there anybody bother to read the minutes of the June 4th meeting that would like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
Can I ask a question about those minutes?
Please.
There was one section that goes to our question about prejudice. Was that the last motion? Because I watched the YouTube video, and I didn't hear, it kind of went through, and he restated his motion, and I didn't hear where the with prejudice was made on the last motion that was made that was actually seconded, because there were 2 seconds. There was a second, and the motion was sort of amended. I don't remember that having the with prejudice part, and I just wonder because that's what's in the minutes. And so if you think the minutes are inaccurate, we can always continue that vote and they can be amended, but it has to be the board's decision as to the accuracy of the minutes.
What is your question exactly?
My question is whether the member who made the motion, whether he believes the minutes are accurate as to the motion. It says without prejudice. Without prejudice doesn't have any legal effect in that particular circumstance.
Andrew, you made the motion.
I made the motion.
Yeah, it says, Mr. Hunsicker restated his motion to deny based on the proposed 13-unit short-term multifamily rental development being incompatible with the area, adjacent neighborhoods, and surrounding businesses, whereupon Mr. Bello seconded the motion. Does that accurately reflect what?
That is accurate.
Okay, then you can move forward with the vote.
Since I'm the one, I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor of approving the meeting minutes? Aye. Opposed, the minutes are approved. We have a case next month. Should we know anything about this before we have that case relative to any pre-work we should be doing? Is this a site we should go look at?
I would discourage discussion about it, honestly, before the hearing. You can visit any site, and I would just stop there.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be my advice.
All right, subtle message.
Okay.
Duly noted.
Meeting's adjourned.
No way.